Tensions escalate as conflicts rage across the globe, with significant events unfolding in the Middle East and Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, severe weather wreaks havoc in Asia, impacting lives and economies. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. Concerns are growing regarding the possibility of stagflation in the U.S. economy, characterized by stagnant growth and high inflation. Recent economic indicators suggest that while inflation continues to rise, economic growth is slowing down, leading to fears of a prolonged period of economic stagnation. This scenario poses challenges for policymakers who must navigate the delicate balance between controlling inflation and stimulating growth. Analysts are warning that without decisive action, the economy could enter a stagnation phase, impacting employment and consumer confidence. The Federal Reserve is under pressure to implement effective measures, but the complexities of the current economic landscape make this a daunting task. As discussions around fiscal and monetary policies intensify, the public is left wondering how these developments will affect their daily lives. The coming months will be crucial in determining whether the U.S. can avert a stagflation crisis and restore economic stability. The inflation rate in the United States remains elevated, with recent statistics indicating a continued rise in consumer prices. While the Federal Reserve has taken measures to combat inflation, including interest rate hikes, the effects are yet to be fully realized in the economy. Consumers are feeling the pinch, particularly in essentials such as food and energy. Many households are adjusting their spending habits, leading to concerns about a potential slowdown in economic growth. Economists are closely monitoring the situation, with predictions that inflation may remain high for the foreseeable future. The impact on businesses is also significant, as rising costs are squeezing profit margins and prompting some to raise prices. As policymakers deliberate on further actions, the public is left grappling with the consequences of sustained inflation. The coming months will be pivotal in determining how effectively the economy can navigate these challenges and restore stability. The ongoing housing affordability crisis in the United States is reaching alarming levels, with new reports indicating that a significant portion of the population is struggling to secure affordable housing. Rising interest rates and inflation have exacerbated the situation, leaving many families unable to purchase homes or afford rental properties. The situation is prompting calls for urgent policy changes to address the housing market's challenges. Experts note that without intervention, the crisis could lead to increased homelessness and economic instability. Local governments are exploring various measures, including rent control and affordable housing initiatives, but progress has been slow. The issue has gained national attention, with advocacy groups pushing for comprehensive housing reform to ensure equitable access to housing for all. As policymakers grapple with the complexities of the crisis, the urgency for solutions becomes increasingly critical. The coming months will be crucial in determining whether effective measures can be implemented to alleviate the burdens faced by millions. In light of the severe weather events affecting the region, China has announced plans to enhance its typhoon preparedness measures. The government is mobilizing resources and coordinating with local authorities to improve response capabilities ahead of the upcoming typhoon season. This decision follows the recent devastation caused by heavy rains and the impact of Tropical Storm Maysak, which has led to loss of life and significant infrastructure damage. Officials are emphasizing the need for better early warning systems and evacuation plans to protect vulnerable populations. The commitment to strengthening disaster preparedness comes as climate change continues to pose increasing risks to the region. As the nation braces for future storms, the focus will be on ensuring the safety and resilience of communities. The effectiveness of these measures will be tested as the next storm approaches, with officials urging citizens to stay informed and ready. Russian President Vladimir Putin has made a bold statement during a recent visit to a military installation, vowing to expand Russia's military campaign in Ukraine. This visit comes amid reports of Ukrainian successes in repelling Russian advances and ongoing drone strikes that have caused supply shortages for Russian forces. Putin's rhetoric aims to bolster morale among troops and assert Russia's commitment to its territorial ambitions. Observers note that such declarations could lead to increased military activity in the coming weeks, further complicating an already tense situation. The Ukrainian government is preparing for possible escalations while seeking additional support from Western allies. As military operations intensify, the humanitarian fallout is expected to worsen, with civilians caught in the crossfire. The international community is closely monitoring these developments, and diplomatic efforts may intensify to avert further escalation. What unfolds in the near future will be crucial for both sides and the stability of the region. In a surprising development, the United States and Iran have reached an agreement to halt attacks against each other, marking a potential turning point in their fraught relationship. Following a series of escalating confrontations, both nations have expressed a willingness to engage in dialogue and explore diplomatic solutions. The agreement comes at a time of heightened tensions, particularly following recent military actions in the Strait of Hormuz. Analysts are cautiously optimistic, noting that this could pave the way for renewed negotiations over Iran's nuclear program and regional security concerns. However, skepticism remains regarding the durability of this truce, given the history of mistrust between the two countries. The international community is watching closely, hoping that this development can lead to a more stable Middle East. As both sides prepare for talks, the future of U.S.-Iran relations hangs in the balance, with many questions about what this means for broader geopolitical dynamics. In the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia, Ukrainian forces are bracing for a renewed assault as Russian troops threaten key positions in the eastern region. Reports indicate that Russian forces are attempting to breach Ukraine's defensive lines, escalating the conflict in areas crucial for territorial control. The Ukrainian military is mobilizing additional resources to counter the threat, while civilian populations in the vicinity are being urged to take shelter. NATO has expressed solidarity with Ukraine, reaffirming its commitment to defensive support in light of the renewed aggression. The situation remains fluid, with military analysts closely watching the developments on the ground. As both sides prepare for a potential clash, the humanitarian situation continues to deteriorate, with civilians caught in the crossfire. Global leaders are calling for immediate ceasefire talks to prevent further escalation, but the prospects for peace appear dim. The coming days will be critical as Ukraine seeks to defend its sovereignty amidst mounting pressure. Severe weather conditions in China have resulted in tragic consequences, with heavy rains claiming the lives of at least 5 individuals in the northern regions. The intense downpours have led to widespread flooding and landslides, disrupting daily life and causing significant damage to vital infrastructure, including roads and bridges. Emergency services have been deployed to affected areas, working tirelessly to rescue those trapped and provide essential aid to displaced families. Meanwhile, the southern region is bracing for the impact of Tropical Storm Maysak, which is expected to exacerbate already precarious conditions. Local authorities are urging residents to evacuate high-risk areas and take necessary precautions against potential flooding. Climate experts warn that such extreme weather events are becoming increasingly frequent due to climate change, raising significant concerns about future preparedness and resilience. As recovery efforts continue, the focus will shift towards assessing the damage and rebuilding affected communities, which may take considerable time and resources. In response, the government is likely to face scrutiny over its disaster response capabilities, prompting discussions on improved infrastructure and emergency planning for the future. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas has intensified dramatically, with both sides exchanging heavy fire over the past 24 hours. The latest flare-up began when Hamas launched a series of rockets targeting southern Israel, prompting swift retaliatory airstrikes from the Israeli Defense Forces. This resurgence of violence marks a significant escalation following a fragile ceasefire that had been in place for several months. The ceasefire had provided a brief respite, allowing for humanitarian aid to reach affected areas, yet tensions simmered beneath the surface. Civilians in Gaza and southern Israel are once again bearing the brunt of this renewed conflict, with reports indicating numerous casualties and extensive damage to homes and infrastructure. The international community is increasingly alarmed over the humanitarian crisis that is likely to deepen if the fighting continues unabated. Diplomatic efforts to broker another ceasefire are ongoing, but both sides appear firmly entrenched in their positions, complicating de-escalation efforts. As regional tensions rise, the potential for broader implications, including spillover violence in neighboring countries, looms large. Immediate and concerted diplomatic initiatives are essential to prevent further escalation and to restore a semblance of stability in the region. In a significant escalation of hostilities, the United States launched airstrikes against Iranian targets in response to a recent attack on a U.S. cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. This move marks a dramatic increase in tensions between the two nations, which have been embroiled in a series of tit-for-tat attacks in recent months. The U.S. military confirmed that the airstrikes were aimed at facilities linked to Iran's paramilitary forces, signaling a firm stance by Washington. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital waterway, accounting for nearly 20% of the world's oil trade, making stability in this region crucial for global economies. Analysts believe that this military action could provoke Iran to retaliate in various ways, including potential attacks on maritime traffic or U.S. interests in the region. Such developments could not only disrupt oil supplies, but also heighten security concerns among neighboring Gulf states, which are already on edge. International responses have varied, with calls for de-escalation from European leaders and warnings from Russia and China about the potential for wider conflict. As the U.S. and Iran exchange threats, the prospect of renewed diplomatic talks seems increasingly distant. With tensions escalating, the risk of further military engagement appears imminent, leaving the region's security in a precarious position. Thank you for watching today's news recap. Which story shocked you the most? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.